Kitchen folks for another experimental day in home brewing. Today I'm going to make a cranberry and pomegranate flavoured cider. So here's my key ingredients. Well, it's cranberry, so I'm using cranberry, Ocean Spray, squash. Now there's not a lot in this bottle, there's probably about 200 ml, but I think that will be enough because this is concentrated. Alongside that, I'm using pomegranate tea from Hazababa. It's Turkish tea, and I'm not including any tea bags for tannins because this contains tannins aplenty. It's a cider, so obviously I'm using apples in the form of apple juice from concentrate, which just contains apple juice from concentrate, 4 litres thereof. I've got 100 grams of brewing sugar, dextrose monohydrate, just to up the alcohol by volume a little bit. And experimentally today, I'm going to use red wine yeast as I have a packet open and I want to use it up. And this is going to be red anyway when I add these to it, so let's just see what happens. It's just an experiment, hopefully it will work, we'll find out. So I'm going to begin by adding my Ocean Spray Cranberry cordial into a saucepan. Get that all in there. I'm then going to add my pomegranate tea, and some of you will have seen this before when I've previously made a pomegranate cider, but that's what I've got. It's Turkish tea. It basically just dissolves in hot water. Last time I made it with this, it had a really strong tea flavour, and that's because this contains a lot of tannins anyway, so I don't need to add any extra tea bags for artificial tannins. I've then got my 100 grams of brew sugar. I'm just simply going to pour that on top. And then I'm going to add some apple juice. Now I'm probably going to add half of this carton, just to dilute it down because it was quite thick and syrupy, the liquid, with that much powder and not that much liquid in there. So this is what I've got in my pan. I'm just going to give it a little stir around. It will dissolve pretty easily what's in there, but the heat will obviously facilitate that. So it's time to get the gas on. Just turn that down, and I'll just keep moving that around with the heat until I can see that all the powder is dissolved. This will take less than 5 minutes. Okay, my fermentation vessel of choice today is the bog standard 1 gallon demijohn. So just while I'm waiting for the powder to dissolve, I'm going to start to get the apple juice into the demijohn. So this is the turbo cider method, using apple juice from concentrate. Turbo because it's quick. Check out the Facebook group Turbo Ciders for All if you're looking for some inspiration and recipes. Lots of good people in there, lots of good recipes. So I've got half a litre in, and here goes my second litre. So whilst I'm also talking about social media, I've got a Facebook page for Moss Home and Garden. Please give that a follow. And also, have you subscribed to my YouTube channel? If you haven't, just go to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk, hit the subscribe button, press the bell, make me smile. Cheers, thank you. I'm just going to add 1 more litre of apple juice for now because I want this to combine nicely, so I shall then add that liquid before adding the final amount of apple juice to this. So the 3rd litre now going in. Okay, that'll do for now. I'm just now waiting for this to finish. I've just turned the heat off because I can see that this is majoritively dissolved. There's a little bit left in the bottom. I'm just going to work this round until it goes. And this is now cleared completely. So I'm now going to add this to the apple juice. Now it is quite warm, but it's not too hot. And the apple juice, which is already in the demijohn, will protect the demijohn from any harm. So in this goes. And it's now a lovely rosé colour. And now I'm going to add my last litre of apple juice. Let's have a look at this cider must. So here it is, it's a beautiful rosé colour, and hopefully that will make some very nice cider. Right, I'm just taking out 100 ml so I can record the original gravity. And that leaves me a little bit more headspace in the top of the vessel now. Now this is slightly warmer than body temperature, which means it's definitely too warm for me to take the gravity, which needs to be done at 20. So I'm going to pop this in the fridge for 15 minutes and then I'll come back to it. Right, while I'm waiting for the liquid in the fridge to cool down, it's time to finish the brew off. I've got one more ingredient which I didn't mention in the first place, and that's yeast nutrient. And I'm going to add a generous heaped teaspoon of this into the brew. It'll just give the yeast a little bit extra to feed on, make it a bit happier, less stressed. And finally, here comes my yeast. So this is Young's all-purpose red wine yeast. I've got it open because I made a red wine and I can't imagine me making another red wine for a bit yet, so I'd rather just use it up than leave the packet open. So in this goes. There's not a lot. In fact, that's looking a little bit short, if anything. I'm wondering whether to supplement it with a bit of a different yeast. I'll have a look in my box. Okay, because there was a little bit less yeast there than what I was expecting, I am actually going to add a bit of a different yeast to it. So combining the yeasts, experimental. So this is from the Angel Yeast Company. Now this is meant to be the equivalent of 71B, which is a wine yeast. That's what I'd ordered. This is what came. Thank you, eBay. You know, sometimes you order something thinking you're going to get one thing and then something else arrives from China. This is what happened. So it's a big experiment. Let's just see what happens. I'm just going to add a little bit of this to it. I don't want to add tons of it. But, yeah. Well, it is a rosé colour, so a bit of red wine yeast and a bit of white wine yeast. Kind of makes a rosé, doesn't it? So in this goes. And that's more like it in terms of the right quantity. I had thought that there was a little bit more of the red wine yeast than what there actually was. Okay, so just look at that yeast falling through there. It's going to have a lovely time. I'll just give this a little bit of agitation though, just to help it on its merry way. So the combining of yeasts, am I going to create a monster? Or will it be something dead tasty? We'll find out in about a month's time. Actually 2 months' time, because it has to condition. Yeah, 2 months' time. Smells nice though. Okay, I'm going to pop the airlock in. And now it's just a case of waiting for the liquid in the fridge to cool down so I can take the original gravity. I'll be back with you in 10 minutes. I'll have a cup of tea. Okay, let's take that original gravity. And I'm actually starting on an original gravity of exactly 1.060, 1060. So I've got my demijohn labelled up, but pleasantly surprising, fermentation has started already. You can see the beginnings of a Krausen ring and the bubbler has actually been going. Not much, but it's been doing something. I was slightly concerned that because the Ocean Spray Cranberry had preservative in it, that fermentation might take a while to get going and the yeast take a while to establish, but it doesn't seem to be the case, so all good. So I'll give you a fermentation update later on today and we'll see what's happening. Catch you then, folks. So just an update 3 hours later, and you can see that we have a Krausen and there is definite airlock activity. That's been bubbling away quite nicely. We'll see one go. Oh, the excitement of it all. So yeah, the yeast seem to be working well together. I've got no idea how this will come out, but I'll give you an update in a couple of days' time once we get to the crazy stage. Hey folks, just a third day cranberry and pomegranate cider update. You can see that Krausen is nice and healthy looking. Fermentation is slow but steady. It's all happening. So unless anything dramatic happens, the next film that you see from me will be bottling. But if something dramatic does happen in the interim, then we'll have a further update. Catch you later, folks.
Good morning from the kitchen, folks. It's my cranberry and pomegranate cider bottling day. Let's have a look at it.
Here it is. It's looking very nice and rosé coloured, extremely clear. You can see my hand through that very easily. It looks really nice actually. This has been in the demijohn for 6 weeks. It fermented for somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks, obviously starting off very quickly and then getting slower and slower towards the end of fermentation. For the last 2 to 3 weeks, it really hasn't done anything at all, and I've just left it to settle in the demijohn. So today it's going out of there and into these bottles. So before I can begin transferring to the bottles, I need to add some priming sugar. This is just standard household sugar. I'm using this much in each 750ml bottle, which is the equivalent of about 1.5 teaspoons full. The priming sugar will cause a very fractional fermentation in the bottles. It will increase the ABV by a tiny amount, a decimal. But what it will also do is create CO2 as a byproduct. That will build up pressure, and that is what will give my cider a sparkle. So the sugar is in the bottles. Now it's bung out of the demijohn. Siphoning tube into the demijohn. I'm holding the tube in place with this clip. The bottom of the tube is just into the sediment line. I will get a little bit out in the first part, but that will go into the hydrometer flask. Let's do it. So yeah, the first bit that's come out is milky. It's cleared already. That's in the hydrometer jar. And now I'm into the bottles. It just smells like apple cider, to be quite honest. Let's wait and see what happens. And into the second bottle. So just while I'm waiting for the second bottle to fill, I shall put the bung in the first bottle. I'm using plastic bungs which I recycle. They've been softening in very hot water. Okay, I don't think there's enough left in the demijohn. No, there isn't. It's just finished to fill this bottle, so I'm going to use a smaller bottle. So I shall just use a beer bottle and crown cap this one. Okay, that bottle's not quite full, so against my better judgment, I'm going to take some out of the hydrometer flask and add it to it, which means I'll get a bit of sediment or trub in this bottle. So to that end, let's take the final gravity. And that has sank very lovely. And I can see that I've finished on a final gravity of exactly 1.000. Perfect. So I'm just going to crown cap this one using the handheld capper. Hopefully it will go nice and smoothly. And then we've got a nice tight seal. For my remaining bottles, I now need to add cages. I'll demonstrate it once, I don't need to show you 5 times. The cage just keeps the metal bung in place. These are cages which are either recycled from other bottles or ones that I've bought. But basically you can use them about 3 times or so before they break. And that will hold the bung in place, so when pressure builds up in there from the little fermentation that will take place and the production of CO2, that bung will not become a missile now. Fingers crossed. I've got to repeat this 4 more times. You don't need to see that. Catch you in a minute. Okay, I need to label my bottles, but they've got sticky residue on the outside, so I'm just giving them a little shower to clean them down. Okay, before I can make my labels, I need to work out the final ABV. So I take the original gravity of 1.060. I deduct from that the final gravity of 1.000, which equals 0.06. And then I multiply this by 131.25, which gives me a final alcohol by volume of 7.875%. Let's just say 7.9%. I've got my bottle labels made up in a simple Microsoft Word template. Let's get these printed out. Right, I'll just get my bottles labelled. And this is kind of the last job really for today. And there they are. Okay, the next stage in the brew process is the conditioning. This is the easy bit. You just leave your bottles somewhere nice and warm for a month. Let that secondary fermentation take place inside them so the sparkle develops, and also let the flavour mature a bit. To that end, I've simply got mine on top of my drinks cabinet in my living room up here, which is plenty warm enough in summer for them to condition. My living room is connected to a south-facing conservatory, and it is regularly very warm in here. So the next film that you see from me will be opening and tasting in about a month's time. Catch you then, folks. Hey from the kitchen, folks, it's my Cranberry and Pomegranate Cider grand opening night. It's been in the bottle and conditioning for 1 month, and it's been in the fridge all day so it's nice and cold. I can see that the bung has raised by around 1 millimetre, 2 millimetres, so I'm hoping for carbonation, fingers crossed. I want a nice flavour, I want it to look good in the glass, and I want to sparkle. Let's see if I can get those things. So the cage on this has already broken. It broke as I was just getting it out of the fridge, it caught. Past its natural life. Right, am I going to get a pop? Yes, it was a small pop, but it was a pop. Definitely some vapour too. Okay, let's see what it looks like. And do you know what? It's not quite as sparkling as I thought it would be, but it's definitely sparkling. You can see that for yourself, and I've got to be happy enough with that. So, yes. Right. Now, it's got a very delicate rosé colour. When you look at it from above, you see it more than what you do when you look at it like that. If I go like this, for example, you might notice or you might not notice. But it's there. It's subtle, but it's there. You can see bubbles going up the glass. It's not mega fizzy, but it's definitely sparkling. Smell-wise, I'm getting apple cider. That's what I'm getting. I'm not getting anything else from the smell, just apple cider. So let's see what it tastes like. Wow, that's lovely. Cranberry always works so well in ciders. It's very medium. Is it medium, or is it somewhere in between medium and medium dry? I'll have another go. No, I'm going to call it a medium. It's a medium cider. Unexpectedly medium, actually. Very, very fruity flavoured. If you'd said to me what fruit are in that from the taste, I wouldn't have probably guessed. I might have had a few guesses and eventually got to cranberry, but I would never have said pomegranate. But it's really nice. It's a good quality cider. It tastes like a very good summer drink and something that I'll be very happy to drink tonight in the garden, soon as though it's been 37 today. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel, press the red subscribe button, hit the bell, you'll get notifications of future uploads, and as usual, I'm always happy to receive your comments, and I do try and respond to all of them. Okay, cheers folks, and I'll catch you on the next brew. The film that you've just watched is a Moss Home and Garden production. You can find more by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. I'd just like to say thank you very much for supporting my YouTube channel and for watching my films. It really is very much appreciated.
If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel in order to receive future updates about the home and garden films which I upload. You can find my YouTube channel by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. Please click on the red subscribe button. When you've done that, a little bell will appear. If you press that also, then you'll get future updates about the films which I upload. If you like my films, if you like my style of filming, then you might also like my travel channel, which you will find by going to youtube.com/Stuart Moss or type in www.mosstravel.tv. Again, if you could subscribe to that channel, it would be hugely appreciated. If you'd like to get Moss Home and Garden updates on Facebook, then please open Facebook and do a search for Moss Home and Garden, and you will find the page. If you like the page, then you will get future updates on there. And if you'd like to connect on Instagram for home, garden and travel photography, as well as some stories, then my username is StuMoss, STUMOSS. If you'd like to connect on Twitter, then my username is @StuartMoss. And if you'd like to contact me about film usage or any other issue, please just email me on stewmosshomegarden@gmail.com. Once again, thank you very much for supporting my channel, for watching my films. I do appreciate it. I'd just like you all to have a great day.